Alright, what's up everybody? How y'all doing out there in paradise? Hope y'all being safe, taking good care of yourself, and enjoying life to its fullest. It's been a while since I put out a video. I've got a lot of food videos stored up that I've made that I'm going to start putting them out here and there. I had to let some time go by so that they can't track the meals, by putting them out too soon after they've been served. And anyway, today I'm going to give you part of one of my escapes, alright? I'm not going to tell you how I escaped in this video, because if I tell you how I escaped, I can be tracked by it, okay? It would be easy to track me because it was unique. So I'll just tell you what happened, how the police ran down on me, and I got away. First of all, I met this woman while I was incarcerated. I had been incarcerated for more than 5 years. Okay, I can't be too exact, but I had been incarcerated for more than 5 years, and I saw back in, this is way back, decades and decades ago, okay, and back in those days, they used to have personal ads in newspapers and magazines and all different types of places, and so I put a personal ad, a pen pal ad, in a newspaper of a major metropolitan city, okay? And this lady wrote to me, and we started writing back and forth, and then she started visiting me, and one thing led to another, and I caught feelings for her, we caught feelings for each other, whatever. And so I had her cellmate who, when they brought mail one night, the police gave him the mail, and he handed it to me. And when he went to hand it to me, he stopped for a minute because he saw the name on the return address. And then he handed it to me, and he says, "What's her name?" And I said the name. He says, "Does she live in such and such?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh man, I grew up with that chick, man. She'll fuck at the drop of a hat." Excuse my language, ladies. And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I grew up with her, man. I went to school with her, man. She'll fuck quick, she'll fuck anybody." And we almost came to blows, because I had caught feelings for her, and he's talking this shit, and I don't want to believe it, I just don't want to hear it, because I'm in my little feelings and everything. And so I go out to the phone, and I call her up, and I'm like, "Yo, dude says blah, blah, blah. Is this true?" She's like, "Yeah, I know him, but no, it ain't true. Go get him, bring him to the phone." So I went and got him. He came out to the phone, and he didn't say nothing. He was just like, uh-huh. Then he handed me the phone and walked off, right? And I said, "Man, what did you say to him?" She's like, "Told him don't be lying to you like that, Well, turns out, homeboy wasn't lying. He was telling the truth. I should have listened to him. I should have listened to her mama, too. Well, I'll get into that later, but anyway. So, we start talking about escaping, She had a problem with her ex-husband trying to take custody of her daughter, and she said that if he got custody, he would molest her, And she knew that was just the thing to say to get me to leave, And so we started plotting my escape, right? So, takes a couple weeks, but we put a plan together, like, yo, wait for me at this spot. And it's funny because I get out. I'm running through the woods trying to get to the spot because I told her if I'm not at the spot by 9:05 p.m., keep going because that means they got me. Well, as I'm running through the woods, there was a tree branch hanging down low, and it's dark, so I can't see. And I run slam into that tree branch and go straight back on my back, knocked out. I don't know how long I was out, but I was unconscious, and then all of a sudden, I woke up, and all I see is black, and I'm trying to catch my bearings, and then after a couple minutes, I realize where I am, and I jump up and I start running again. Turns out I was 10 minutes late, but lucky for me, she was stubborn and had to do things her way. Because when I got there, I was 10 minutes late, and she was still there. I could hear as I got closer, I could hear the car idling. Anyway, I get to the car, we take off, right? And so we go into the city and we stay in a motel overnight, and then the next day we head north, and we get up around New York area, and we're just outside New York actually, and decided to turn around. She just didn't want to be there. So she said she knew people down south, so we started to head down south. And as we're heading down I-95, she's tired from driving, and I don't have no license or anything. I've only been out 24 hours. And damn, if we didn't get into the state that I escaped from, which is her home state, and we switch, and I drive. And I have heard so many times in prison about people getting caught on escape because they are driving without a license. I remember reading it in the newspaper where a guy gets caught because he's driving without a license and he gets pulled over. And I always said that would never be me. I'm not that stupid. Well, this day I was that damn stupid. And I got behind the wheel and I'm driving down 95. And I haven't been driving 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and all of a sudden the state police are behind me with the siren. I'm like, oh shoot. So me and her get to arguing, I'm slowly moving over one lane at a time. It took me about 5 minutes to pull over to the median. And when I got into the median, it took another 2 or 3 minutes for me to actually stop. The whole time we're arguing. She has a gun because she was an armed security guard. I'm like, give me the gun, give me the gun. I'm in my young 20s. And still stupid. Been in prison for over 5 years, and I got this prison mentality that the adults taught me because, I came in when I was 14. So all I know about life is what the criminals in the penitentiary taught me, So I'm like, give me the gun. And she's like, no, just pull over and jump out of the car and run. I'm like, there's nowhere to go. There's woods everywhere. So we're arguing. I finally pull over, and I'm like, I'm going back to prison. The state trooper walks up to ask for my license and registration. So I turn to her and tell her, say, look in the glove box for my license and insurance card. And she starts rummaging through it, acting like she's looking through it. And the cop says, the reason I pulled you over, you made an improper lane change. And I'm like, BS. I ain't make no improper lane change. I didn't even change lanes. It didn't dawn on me at the moment why he had really pulled me over. But the truth of the matter was, he pulled me over because she was of another race, and seeing, a mixed couple like this made him pull us over. Because this is back in the day, okay? Wasn't like it is nowadays. I hear that things have changed a lot out there nowadays. So he tells me, he says, Get out the car. Get out the car, and we walk to the back, and she opens the trunk and is looking for it, and then she hands him her license. She said, no, I want his license. And then he says, you ain't got one, do you? And I was like, no, I don't. He says, you sure you haven't been suspended? And starts naming off surrounding states, in this state or in this state. I said, no, sir, the truth is I've never had a license. We're coming back from upstate, and she got tired, and I took over the wheel for her. He don't believe it. He thinks that I'm suspended. So he takes my ID. I have a legitimate ID in somebody else's name, regular photo ID, as good as it can get. And he takes it and walks back to his car. He says it when he goes back. He says, if I go back to my car and find out that you're lying, you're going to jail. I said, I'm not lying, sir. I'm telling you the truth. So he goes to the car. I see him on his radio and everything, and I'm like, man, looking around, trying to figure how I can get away. I'm dead, no water. There's nothing I can do. So, damn, I'm running out of time. I gotta edit this and start a new piece. Alright, I ran out of storage space, so I had to move the file and start another one. So, the trooper comes back, and he walks up to us and he says, same thing, starts questioning me about if I ever had a suspended license or if I ever had a license anywhere, and I'm swearing up and down that I don't. And he says one more time, he says, I'm going to go back, and if I find you're lying, you're going to jail, and you're going to be in jail for a long time. I said, I swear, sir, I swear. And he walks halfway to his car, and then he turns around and walks back. And he says, get in the car, passenger side, because I was headed towards the driver's side. He said, passenger side. And he escorts me over to the passenger side, and she shuts the trunk, and she shut the keys in the, in the trunk. And, no, excuse me, the cop took the keys out of the trunk, and he had the keys, all right? So he walks over to the passenger side, and he says, do you have a birth certificate? And I said, yes, sir, and I gave him the birth certificate, and he said, he called me by the father's name that was on the birth certificate, trying to trick me up, And he said, I said, that's my dad, that's not me. So then he says, are you sure you haven't ever been suspended? I said, no, I swear. He says, well, it just doesn't make sense to me. I said, what, sir? He said, it's every young boy's dream. And then he said, excuse me, every young man's dream that the minute he comes of age, he wants to get a license and drive. And the ID I had said that I was 5 years younger than my actual age, And so he says it just doesn't make sense that you're sitting here telling me that not only don't you have a license, but you've never had a license because you weren't interested in driving, and yet you're driving down the highway right now. And I told him again, I said, well, the only reason I'm driving is because she was tired, blah, 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 So he hands me my ID back, he hands me the birth certificate, and he tells me, not to drive and everything, and to get a license first. He tells her, do not let him behind the wheel or you're going to get pulled over again. And so he lets us go. We couldn't believe it. So as we're driving away, we're like, oh, thank you, Jesus, blah, blah, 5 minutes down the interstate, there's that light behind us again. He's right behind us on the tail, on the bumper. And I'm like, oh, damn, where's your gun? Where's your gun? And she wouldn't say anything, I don't know that I would have did anything. I was just scared and, thinking he's coming back to get me, Um, but he turns around and she stops and she jumps. She remembered what it was. She jumped out of the car and ran back to his car. He had the keys that were in the trunk that he had pulled out, right? And she had used the extra set to drive away in. So he was just bringing the other keys back to us. And she realized it as she was getting, as she pulled over. And I didn't know nothing. I'm scared to death. I'm thinking they're coming to get me. But anyway, so they let me go. Needless to say, the very next day, I went down to DMV. I got a driver's handbook, studied it, and got a license that very next day. Studied it overnight and got the license. Never did anything stupid like that again. And it turns out that this woman who I escaped for was just like my roommate said, and a whole lot more. When I met her mother told me, so-and-so, one day she's going to make you kill her. I'm like, what do you mean? She just said, well, one day she's going to make you kill her. And her mom was crazy anyway, so I didn't pay it no mind, But turns out I should listen to her mama. I should listen to everybody that warned. Even one of her best girlfriends warned me about. Everybody warned me about her. But no, I had my little head wide, my nose wide open, my heart involved and everything. And I'm thinking I'm in love with her and all this. And turns out I ruined my life completely for her because she's the one who I ended up shooting and killing a man over. Yeah. She's the one. I mean, I can't blame her necessarily, although I got arrested because she ran her mouth. But, yeah, it was because of what the dude did to her why I ended up killing him. And I just can't really say that in here. Anyway, that's the story. If you hit that like button and subscribe, and share and comment and all that good stuff. If you didn't like it, go ahead and hit the like button anyway. It's not going to hurt anything, But I do appreciate y'all watching, and I'll put up a food video in a couple of days. I have plenty of those ready. And see y'all soon. I hope y'all have a great week. Be safe out there. Live life to its fullest. Okay? When you see a beautiful sunset, think of me. Because I love sunsets on the beach. There's nothing prettier on earth. Nothing prettier. Alright? To all you criminals out there, all you youngsters think that you're going to keep getting away with slinging dope on the corner and all that other crap you're doing. Let me tell you something. I came to prison with just a couple of years. Okay? My sentence was under 10 years when I came to prison 48 years ago. And I'm still in here. So it doesn't matter if you go to court and get 1 or 2 or 3 years. You get in here, you'll run that shit up. You end up spending your life in here over some dumb stuff. So put all that bullshit aside, do the right thing, go to school, get an education, stay out there and live a good life. This ain't what's happening. Prison is not a badge of honor. There's nothing cool about it. And trust me when I tell you, if you live to get out alive, you're never going to be the same as you were when you came in. Prison changes you. Changes everybody that comes in here. Those of you that have been to prison, you know what I'm talking about. So stay in school. Just say no to drugs and crime. so that you don't end up like me one day in a cage of steel doing time. Good night, everybody.